Alrighty. Okay. So this is our first virtual Inside Scoop. So first virtual and first Inside Scoop, right? And basically this is for the students. You may see some adults on the call, but don't let us scare you. We're just here to help with any technical difficulties or answer any questions that the students may not be able to answer. But this is your call, okay? And this is created for our current students. We have some current students that are in 8th grade that are thinking about coming to high school, and some prospective new students. If you're at another school, you're thinking about Post Oak and coming to learn what we're all about. So, you know, the students are gonna run this, our current students. So we have some middle school students on the call and some high school students on the call, and they would be most willing to answer any of your questions that you may have, okay? So before we continue, I'm going to turn on a video for you to watch a little bit about our school, okay? Go ahead and share this.
This has been a time full of the unexpected, a series of surprises and challenges, and finding new ways of doing things that look and feel and are different from the norm. As it turns out, we are trained for this. We know how to connect, to learn wherever we are. Our approach and the Montessori way is not limited to the four walls of a classroom. We explore and discover the world around us. As a community, we have not wavered in our determination to find each other, even in unexpected places. We've grown our connection, Bearcat to Bearcat. We've come together. We've absorbed our surroundings, adapted, and continued moving forward with a renewed sense of curiosity. Active, inquisitive learners, music makers, bookworms, explorers, gardeners, dancers, and young minds, we meet each other beyond the walls of the classroom.
Morning, everybody. I'm so excited.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Storytime with Corey.
Welcome, my little sous chefs.
Hey, guys. How are you?
We've reached each other through music, in another language, through art and stories, experiments and exploration, cooking meals with our teachers, classmates, and families, learning about the world around us, movement. We found joy in play and humor. We kept our most beloved traditions alive and well by putting our powers of collaboration behind our belief in the good. We celebrated our community's achievements and accomplishments, determined to honor the big milestones. We taught each other new skills. We stretched beyond what we thought was possible, created new traditions and bright moments, and lifted each other up with levity, kindness, and play. At the Post Oak School, our approach is about more than just one thing. It embodies an attitude to life. We instill in our students an awareness of their personal capacity and their ability to make an impact. Post Oakers are curious, they choose to be engaged. And now, perhaps more than ever before, they demonstrate their adaptability and resilience. These qualities and skills allow them, equip them, to navigate the road ahead and to opt for collaboration and compassion with each other and the world around them. By immersing ourselves in the everyday, exactly where we are, wherever that may be, we are reminded that we are never all that far apart.
Okay, awesome. Yay, Post Oak. So now we have some administrators as well as maybe faculty member on the call, and I'll let them introduce themselves. And then after they introduce themselves, I'll turn it over to our ambassador co-president, Ms. Sutton Walsh.
Hi, I'm Ashley Krug. I'm the admission director here at the Post Oak School. I work mostly with our 14 months through sixth graders, so it's a treat to be able to participate in the adolescent portion of the admissions process. So welcome. I'm going to pass it off to Alex.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Abel. I am the middle school director, so I work with the middle school students on a daily basis. Sometimes I see the high school students next door, but mostly here at the middle school. And I'll pass it on to Dr. Quillen.
Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I'm James Quillen. I am the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at the high school, and I also teach, and I've been teaching there since 2012. Sorry for the dog barking. And anyway, I'm glad everybody's here, and I'm looking forward to answering your questions if you have any.
Okay, I think that's all the teachers, so I will go ahead and get started. My name is Sutton Walsh, and as Ms. Trimble said, I'm the co-president of the Student Ambassador Program. I've been at Post Oak since I was 16 months old, so I should be able to answer any question about any level of Post Oak just because I've been here for a very long time. But I love it, and I can't wait to tell you more about my experience here. So starting off for the next slide, we're going to talk about the two goals of adolescence. So now that we're middle schoolers and high schoolers, we're kind of approaching adulthood, which for some of us is kind of scary. But the first goal we have is to develop an awareness of our personal capacity and all the things we're capable of. And at Post Oak, we really explore these things through our internship opportunities, our travel, and our leadership, all of which we're going to expand on later on in the presentation. And then by developing this awareness, we are able to see how this affects our community. So that would be the second goal. And we can do this through our, once again, connections through internships and also our travel opportunities. We really are able to leave an impact on others, even if we're internationally and even if we're just adolescents, which I think is really cool. Next are some skills for the future. So that is a long list of very important things that you should have to be successful in the future. I'm sure y'all can read, so I won't read them all out. But once again, at Post Oak, you're really able to hone in on these things and make them really strong for you. Next, I'm going to move on to Sophia Lee, and she's going to talk about some of the fun things at the middle school.
Hello, I'm Sophia Lee. So one thing that we do in the middle school is occupations, which is one of our classes where we get to basically explore a bunch of new things. And there's different things that we do. So we have an outdoor garden that we've started, and last year we made a bunch of new garden beds. And that's one of the things that we've been focusing on, planting new things in our garden. And also what we did recently was refurbish some of our old benches that we had. So we've been learning new skills like sanding and varnishing things. And now we are moving into Dia de los Muertos decorations for an altar that we're going to be making at the middle school. One thing that I also really like about the middle school is service learning. We have a bunch of different options for service learning. Last year I was with House of Tiny Treasures, and it's not just a way to do community service and things like that. We also learn about the impact it has on like our community, and we get a deeper connection with the people that we work with. At House of Tiny Treasures, I got to work with a number of young kindergarten aged students who were living with families who were either experiencing homelessness or financially unstable. And we got to help them learn and do crafts to help them learn. And it was really meaningful to get to see them. And we built really deep connections with them, which was really good.
So moving on to high school internships. Internships are one of the core components of Post Oak and one of my favorite things. They really allow students to get some real world experience in something they're interested in or something they're very passionate about. So basically all you do is talk to Dr. Lee about anything you might be interested in, and she will set you up with some organization where you can be a leader or shadow someone who's a leader there. So the next slide kind of shows all of the organizations in our extended campus as well beyond our extended campus that you can have an internship at. And obviously, as students' interests keep expanding, more and more things are added to this collection of organizations. So this is Henry, and he is a student at Post Oak who is interested in architecture. So he was able to be an architectural assistant. And what I found with internships, I've had a lot just because pretty much every semester my interests change a lot, but I found that it opens your eyes to things you're interested in as well as things you're not interested in, which I think is equally helpful. I think next is more on the middle school.
Yeah, so these are basically our different subjects. So one thing that I really like about our math is that we have different groups. So our math teacher has split us into different math groups based on kind of our experience and different things that he thinks that we kind of excel at. So we're not in a group that's either too advanced or we're not learning anything because he really placed us in a good group. In humanities this year, we've been learning about government and local government and our voting system in America, which has been a really interesting topic that I've learned a lot about. And it's pretty relevant to everything that's going on today. Science, we've been learning about basically outer space, and we've gotten to go deeper into some subjects such as the Big Bang Theory and other things like that. Spanish, we also have different groups based on your level and experience. I'm kind of in the middle group, and we've been learning about conjugating irregular verbs. And then visual art, theater, and music, we have a lesson once a week. And you're split into either one of those things, and then for 1/3 of the year, you learn about that, and then it switches after a couple of months. In PF, we've been focusing on volleyball.
Okay, so in the high school, we have our 4 main courses of study, which are math, science, history, and language. So starting off with math, we have integrated math, which basically means there are a lot of different subjects, and you won't just take algebra for a year or geometry for a whole semester. It's different subjects combined, and you kind of change every week, and they go together very well. And math is my favorite subject, so I have a lot of experience here. And yeah, it's just really interesting because we get to go at our own pace, and you get put somewhere not based on like what grade you're in, just based on what level of math you think you're ready for. And so for English language arts, we have a program where we do a lot of preparation for high level English in the upper levels, because we only offer high level English, and we focus a lot on writing, reading, and analyzing different writings. For global politics in historical context and economics, we have in 9th and 10th grade, it's integrated history and social sciences. And then in 11th and 12th grade, you choose from one of these 2 that's listed on the slide. But basically what it is, we talk about different things going on in the world, sociology, anthropology, things like that. And instead of just being a regular history course, we relate it back to today. And then in 11th and 12th grade, you will choose one of these two options that you would like to study. And before we move on, there's no slide for science, but basically in science, it's integrated science. So like math, you alternate through different courses of study like chemistry, biology, physics, engineering, things like this. And you get to learn a lot on each one so that you can choose which you want to learn more about in your 11th and 12th grade year.
So hi, I'm Alice. This is my first year at Post Oak, and I'm in 9th grade. So we have 2 language choices you can take at the high school. So there's Mandarin and Spanish, and I'm in Spanish. So in the Spanish class, we go through a lot of cultures, and we also do interactive learning. So we're not just sitting in the class and learning, but like today we made paper flowers for Day of the Dead, and that was very fun. And Mandarin also, like, there's levels for each class, so the teacher will put you in the level. For arts, we have 4 different arts in the 9th and 10th year. So there's music, design technology, theater, and visual arts. And then in upper class, there's film and computer science. So this semester, I'm in music, and right now we are studying like how you can reflect on the music and look deeper into it.
Hello again. So one thing that's really great about the middle school also is our trips. We usually do around 5 trips a year. This year we haven't had any yet, but last year our trips were really memorable, and we also got to learn a lot. The trips allow us to gain a better understanding about a variety of subjects and build relationships with the people around you. So the 2 middle pictures, those are when we were on our Galveston trip last year, and we focused on sea life and other things related to the coast. And it was a really memorable trip, and we all learned a lot. And then we also have a few guest speakers. This year, although we couldn't actually meet in person, we've had 2 guest speakers so far. In the second picture, that is Abby Kamen, who works in local government. So she gave us a small presentation about local government and her position as a city council member. And we all really learned a lot, and it was a really great experience.
Speaking of trips, I'm going to talk about my favorite part of Post Oak's curriculum, the J&A terms. And so J&A terms, just so you get a really brief overview, I don't believe many schools has this, but a J&A term is essentially 2 weeks in January, J term, where we focus on one topic, and then 2 weeks in March, A term, where we focus on another topic. And so, as you can see in this photo, these students have chosen to take the art car, J term or A term, where they focus on making an art car, and then it's entered into the Houston Art Car Parade. And as we can see in the next slide, this is the art of cooking, J term. And this J term, you learn, the school brings in chefs and professionals, and you learn to work with them to create masterpieces of cooking. As you can see, you know, I'm surprised it's not a bowl of macaroni, in all honesty, because it really does look like it. And you just get to focus on certain subjects for a period of time. And so this is the China Field School A term. I went on this A term the year before last, and I loved it. It completely changed my worldview around Mandarin Chinese as a Chinese student. And I was just really, I don't know, it was just what I really needed at the time, and I really loved it. But in this specific A term, we went to China for 2 weeks, and we stayed with the host family, and then we kind of traveled around China and learned about the culture and the history of, well, China. And so the next slide, this is the Costa Rica Field School. And I've not been on this trip, but I've heard a lot about it. But the Costa Rica Field School, essentially you go to Costa Rica and you do a lot of volunteer work. And if I'm correct, you make kind of a little film and you present it back to the community when you come back. And so it's like you get to be a part of it. And I don't know, but J terms and A terms are definitely my favorite part.
So I will be talking about the Bearcats program at our school. So Bearcats is our sports teams. And so we have many different sports. Some of them are, flag football, which is not it's not tackle football, but it's still contact football, except you have flags around your waist that you pull. So I played flag football in middle school. It was a great experience, great teamwork, great team building. We actually won the championship, I believe, when I was in 7th grade. And then I don't know if we won it in 8th grade, but definitely a lot of fun. Then we also have basketball, volleyball, and actually this year, volleyball, we have a boys only team starting, because we usually only have a girls team, but now we have a boy and a girls team. We also have cross country, track, and field, which can also include, if you're interested in it, things like shot put. And then actually a student made sport that was he came up with the idea, proposed it to some teachers, and they actually agreed, and it's now actually a sport that you can sign up for, is golf. And so that usually was never part of usually Bearcats, but now it is. You can go sign up for golf, and they go to golf, I believe they go to like golf tournaments and stuff, and you can actually play golf. So overall, this is a great experience. I've actually competed in many of these sports, I think, except for volleyball, because I just started this year, and cross country. But all of the ones I've been in have all been pretty great, like throughout. So yes.
All right, I'm going to be talking about student life and why being involved is important, and why Post Oak is just so awesome for student involvement. So first of all, I transferred into Post Oak junior year, so I had 2 years at another IB school actually, and then I transferred over at Post Oak, and I feel like that has really given me some insight as to why Post Oak is so unique from any other school that I've heard of or been to or anything like that. And also like my middle school transition and how Post Oak High School is so awesome. So basically, Post Oak does a really great job of integrating community, as you're going to see in the next few slides. And as you've already seen through all of the things we've told you about, like internships and sports, stuff like that. Food Truck Fridays is something unique to Post Oak. We bring in this picture, there's an ice cream truck, but sometimes we'll have tacos. We have like just random food trucks that'll come, and you can buy food and you can just chat with friends, and lunch periods are super long. And I think they're either once a month or once every 2 months, something like that. But it's just an opportunity to meet new people, socialize, and have some good food while you're at it. So why not?
Another travel opportunity at Post Oak is our Odyssey trip. And this is a trip that we go on at the beginning of the year. The entire high school goes, and it's a great way for new students to meet new people, and for old students to also meet the new people, which I remember my Odyssey trip my freshman year. I met a lot of the seniors and the juniors, which I don't think I would have as quickly if we hadn't gone on this community building trip. So that's one of my favorite things about Post Oak. And then another thing are our clubs, and these clubs are student-led. So if you have an idea for clubs, we have photography club, Dungeons and Dragons club, anything you're interested in, you can get a group of students together and get a faculty member to support your club and meet together on a weekly basis. And that this is also a great leadership opportunity. So this is prom committee. I've been in prom committee since freshman year because our entire school goes to prom. It's not just the seniors. But I've got a lot of practice in adaptability, because there always seems to be some obstacle when you're planning prom. Like this year it was a global pandemic, so I've definitely learned a lot about adjusting the plans but still making it fun. So I think that's our presentation for now. Oh wait, just kidding.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the community meeting, another reason Post Oak's awesome. So basically, the whole entire school, we sit in a big circle, and students and teachers alike, which is really cool. And I feel like students and teachers, there's a very great bond between them. Like, they're not just scary people that teach us information. They're our mentors, our helpers, and our friends. And so basically, everyone just sits around, and you just raise your hand if you want to say something, and we bring up issues about the school, from really serious stuff, things to improve about the school, or even just really funny stuff. I don't know. But I feel like community meeting does a great job of bringing people together and like showing how awesome we are as a community.
Okay, so now we're done with our presentation, and we are open to any of your questions. It can be about anything in the high school, the middle school, about Post Oak in general. So please don't be afraid. We're here to answer anything you may have questions about.
I would like to introduce Day Chambers. He's one of our 7th graders. Day, he didn't get to speak in the presentation, but Day, do you want to talk about why you like or love Post Oak?
Yeah, so I joined Post Oak like literally 3 seconds before the pandemic began, so perfect timing on that. But it was really wonderful. Everyone was super nice to me, and we got to the middle school, we got in person, and it's been awesome. Like, all the classes have been great. From a new student, like, no one excludes anyone. Like, there's no bullying really. It's pretty awesome. It's fun to hang out. I've learned a lot, and I'm excited for everything else to come.
Thank you, Day. Back to you, Sutton.
I think Alex had some things he wanted to share.
Is that for me or Miss Abel?
Oh, for you. Sorry.
I was not aware I had something that I wanted to share.
Are there any students on the call that have any questions?
You don't have to raise your hand. You can just speak up.
Yes, I have a question. What does like the average school day usually look like?
For high school or for middle school?
High school.
Okay. So what grade are you in?
10th.
10th. Okay. So for 10th grade, we usually have, we have a set schedule for each week. And so we kind of, so 9th and 10th graders are kind of in the same thing, whereas 11th and 12th graders, they're in IB, they kind of have a different schedule. I don't know about that since I'm a freshman. But anyway, our schedules, we usually have, each day we usually have either two, like we usually have 2 main subjects each day. So whether it's like ELA and math, or English language arts and math one day, and then the next day we have IHSS, or integrated history and social studies, and let's just say we'll have Spanish. And we usually have Spanish or Mandarin 3 times a week. And so for us, it's usually in the morning you meet for advisory. First thing you do is you go to your advisory, and then you usually have a big class in the morning. Maybe you'll have 2 classes in the morning, and then you'll have your lunch break, kind of midday break, where you can just hang out or whatever, eat lunch, and then you usually have more classes in the afternoon. And we usually have pretty big blocks of classes, so they're usually like an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour long. And so you usually get about 4 classes in a day. And then at the end of the day, you meet up with your grade, and then you kind of just go home. But on some days we have theater or whatever special you're into. That's either theater, music, design tech, and then if you're upperclassmen, that's like film and stuff like that. You'll usually have that twice a week, and so it's pretty well, I guess, planned out. You usually have I would say probably like 30 minutes to an hour each day, probably more. It depends on the day, of just open work time. We call it open work time, where you can just like sit in the commons and do homework, do assignments and stuff like that, read, anything like that. And so, yeah, we're definitely busy all day, but you have some time to be able to just, work out whatever you need to do. And yeah.
Yeah, just to expand on that a little bit, for 11th and 12th, you're going to have a lot more free time because you're expected to have more time management skills and stuff. So that free time, since you have more work because of the IB, you're expected to like do that work, and then that allows for more time outside of school. So every single one of our students does an activity outside of school, or at least one activity, of course, whether it's like a sport, a club, leading a club, community service, religious groups, or all of the above even. And I feel like the open work time makes for more time that you can spend helping the community in the world around you outside of school.
I have a question. I have the same question that teenager asked, but for middle school, what is that normal day?
I can answer that one. So you get dropped off at school anytime between 8 and 8:30 a.m. Some get there early, some get there late. It can be a great time to work on stuff. Then you will have either 3 or 4 lesson slots in the morning, and typically about half of them will have classes and half will be open work time. It varies from day to day. But before that, you have a community meeting. So in the community meeting, it's similar to high school, but we will also have current events presentations 2 or 3 times a week, where someone will be assigned to do a presentation on something that's happening in the world. So it'll be either local, international, national. Those are very fun and interesting. You get to learn about what's happening and present. So then we have to clean up because it can get dirty in there if you don't. Then we go to lunch. Lunch is now about 45 minutes every day, and you go to that, and once you're finished eating, we have a lot of kids that play soccer, basketball, volleyball, or just hang out. Once that is finished, you have another few lesson slots in the afternoon. It's very similar to the morning. And then it's typically time to go once you're done with that. So we meet up in our advisory fairly quickly and we leave. But if you sign up for an ASAP, after school enrichment program, which could be a sport or an activity, you'll go to that. So I participate in cross country. So that happens 2 days a week. We go running. It's a sport. It's pretty fun. I like signing up for that. And so that's what a typical day looks like in the middle school.
I have a question on the sports. So is there just like one coach or instructor for every single group, or
So
are there
that's
multiple?
a great question. So depending on the sport, there's usually a different coach. Like for instance, I know for middle school, and I actually don't know for high school yet. Well, actually, yeah, I do. But anyway, the middle school coach, and sometimes he definitely helps with high school, is our coach, Coach Collins. I believe he was in the Olympics for track and field a few times, and then also I know his brother his brother is actually a player on the Minnesota Vikings, so he's definitely, got experience in sports, and he teaches us track. I believe he teaches track, he teaches basketball, and he teaches football, flag football. And then that's for the middle school. And then I think there is Coach Cliff, or is it Coach Cliff? Yes, Coach Cliff. Coach McBride, sorry. He teaches pretty much the same things for high school. And so those are our two main coaches for those sports. And then we also have Coach V. We call her Coach V. I don't know exactly how to pronounce her last name, but her name's Coach V for us. She teaches boy and girl volleyball, and she's a great coach. And so I think there's also, I don't know if this is true, but I know Mr. Williamson does cross country, because I've seen him go running a few times with the middle schoolers. So yeah, we definitely have different coaches for every sport, and they're all, very good in those sports. They definitely have experience. They're definitely qualified and stuff. So we have a good situation there.
Do you have any other questions? Any other questions?
You can also put your questions in the chat if you don't want to unmute yourself, and I'm happy to read them aloud. So if you feel more comfortable typing them, that's fine too.
Okay, anything else to add from the ambassadors? No? Okay, well, for those of you that are and will be applying, this is just a handful of our ambassadors, our middle school as well as our high school ambassadors. Not all of them are on the call tonight. If you were at the open house, maybe, viewing with your parents online, you would have seen another set of ambassadors. So we have a lot of students that that represent our school. We have a question in the chat from Jackson. What is it like being a teacher at Post Oak? Dr. Quillen, that's you.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I've been a teacher here for 8 years now, and I will say that it's a lot of fun being a teacher at Post Oak. It's very much, our approach is that we think of students as our sort of colleagues in a way. We want to work, we really are looking to work with them on things, and it's not the kind of job where we wear out our voices with a whole lot of talking. We try, at least we, not most of the time. Sometimes we lecture and do things like that, but a lot of times we're listening. And so it's really great because we get to hear a lot from students, and we get to spend a lot of time, get to know our students really well, being advisors as well as teachers. So as an advisor, my advisees, I kind of advise them on all aspects of their academic life, and the social aspects of school even sometimes too. So it's really fun for people who like teenagers, maybe are teenagers at heart a little bit. And yeah, that was the thing. I mean, it's really fun. We also do a lot of traveling. So and I've been involved going to, in particular, take a trip to Jamaica, and I've done that 8 times or 9 times now, and it's always an adventure. And get to learn more as teachers. We really enjoy that we get to keep learning, and we get to keep getting to meet a lot of great people, and so that's about it.
I hope that answered your question. I wanted to address another question that we had about if Post Oak hosts any LGBTQ+ clubs. And so I am actually co-president with another friend of mine named Kenzie, and we are both co-presidents of SAGA, which stands for Sexuality and Gender Alliance / Acceptance. And we meet weekly on during Friday lunch, and our topics that we talk about kind of range from politics to just like things that we think about the community, how we can improve as a community, how we can make a safer space in the school. And sometimes if we feel like something needs to come up, we'll bring it up in the community meeting. But everyone is really, really supported at the school, and we are backed very heavily by faculty. Sadly, I will say we do not have a non-binary specific club, but if you would like to start one, go for it. I know we would have members interested, and I'm sure that you'll find your place here.
Thank you, Safet. Thank you, Dr. Quillen. Are there any other questions?
On the campus, is it like easy to find your way, or is it pretty complicated and then you get used to it?
It's actually very easy to find your way. Since it's a very open space, you can see all the classrooms from all the classrooms. So it's like one big room with a bunch of walls, and then you have a center area, and that's kind of how it functions. So it is super easy to find where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to speak a little bit about that, just like you said, for the middle school, if you stand in the middle of the middle school and like do a 360, you can see all the classrooms and you can see like all sides of the building. So it's definitely very open air. And the same is the case for the high school, where there's essentially one long walkway that if you walk down it, you can see all the rooms that are connected to the high school. And it was purposely designed this way, to get a really big feel of community and creativity. So.
Awesome questions. Any others?
Just in case like visualizing that whole description of the campus was a little bit difficult to directly answer, I think getting lost would be pretty impossible. So please don't worry about that.
Okay, well, awesome. Sutton, would you like to close it out? If there are no other questions?
Yeah, I guess if there aren't any more questions, thank you all so much for coming. I know you probably have Ms. Trimble's contact information, so if you come up with any questions right after this meeting ends, please don't hesitate to reach out to her. And we're so glad you came, and hope you consider Post Oak, because we would love to have you as a part of our community.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you. Bye.